All right, Jim, we've received several questions about Jon Moxley's recent quotes.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm trying to see where they are. They're from
Do they have subtitles in English where you can understand them?
Well, they're from a Sports Illustrated article. I have it here, but the headline's going around several places. Jon Moxley says that the BCC versus Elite feud is, quote, the absolute apex of pro wrestling.
Wait a minute, is that a new plumbing company he's starting, Apex Plumbing? Or is that, I've seen like an Apex septic tank pumping company. Is that what, because, wait a minute, let me get the dictionary out because I must have the wrong definition of Apex. Hold on here. Armstrong, architecture, arboretum.
Apex.
Appear. Aha, I'm closing in on it. Apart, apathy, aperture, apex, the highest point, the peak.
Yeah.
So
when Rocky got to the top of the stairs.
So let me get this straight. A balding plumber, Wheeler Useless, poor misused Bryan Danielson, and the now mute Claudio Castagnoli against the EVPs, and do they have a fourth guy on their side, and who would it be?
Takeshita.
There you go. That's better than Cody and Brock, Reigns and Cody. I don't know, let's go through history. Flair and Steamboat, fucking Hart and Austin, Midnight Rock and Roll. This is the apex. This is not even... Is he saying it's even drivel and ridiculous that he would say that it's as good as wrestling is now, when most wrestling is the shits now to begin with, but it's not even as good now as other shit that's going on that's better in a bad period of wrestling. What is he does he think if people hear this from him, they will just automatically believe it? Does he not care that he comes off looking like a fucking obnoxious, egotistical idiot? Or why would you say something that ridiculous?
I'm attempting to find the isolated part of this where he says the quote. There's a lot of quotes in this. Oh, here it's actually the last thing in the fluff article here.
I figure after he said that, everybody fainted dead away from fucking astonishment, and they all went home.
The BCC versus the Elite? This rivalry is the absolute apex of professional wrestling right now. We're going to have a great crowd, and we have the steel cage. It's got all the ingredients for a really memorable night.
And of course, how can you have great pro wrestling without trying to stab other people in the faces with screwdrivers? And are they going to have a cage match? Yeah, they are.
Wednesday.
Him and Twinkle Toes are going to get in a cage, and Twinkle Toes will be whistling Stranger in Paradise. And Moxley will pull out the entire contents of the fucking Schick razor blade factory, and they'll just have a fun old time.
Well, here's a quote, Jim, from the article talking about his history with Kenny Omega. At the time, I'm not going to do his voice. At the time, Kenny was known as the best wrestler in the world. I was coming
By
off...
who?
I was coming off fucking off from WWE, so I was in the news, and people wanted to see what I was going to do. I was a hot name. He was a hot name. We'd never entered each other's universes before. On the first show, we've got all these incendiary ingredients lined up. Jericho, a TV deal, the Young Bucks, and then the real explosive fuel was me and Kenny at Double or Nothing.
Wait a minute, have they wrestled before? I've forgotten about it.
That's where the match got lit.
Did we have to watch that?
That's where the match got lit, and we set it ablaze. It was the spark that ignited the whole blaze that is AEW, and 4 years later, it's coming back around again. It feels really good. It feels like where we should be. You know, when you read his comments in a normal voice...
it sounds insane. If you... because a normal person doesn't speak like that, and who has convinced this guy that he is that good? I mean, I can see some people with lower standards going, he's all right. But how could anybody have convinced him that he is this big megastar and this great wrestler and this incredible box office attraction? Who has told him that? And how can we get them a phone call with better help?
Well, I'm scanning this article. As I said, a lot of quotes here. The BCC is real. It's only been around for a year, but those guys have been my partners for like 10 years. I know of many close friends in the business.
Useless?
Danielson and Claudio, those two are on the list of his friends in the business. They're best friends, training partners, and I've spent so much time in the ring with them. The only difference was, back then, it was the opposite side of... Well, he's just rambling here at this point. Well, they're pitching fluff articles again to Sports Illustrated. What does that say?
Again, even if you think that you are that good, who talks like that? Unless you're a heel in gimmick. Who actually comes out, oh yeah, I'm the greatest thing.
The Apex.
And, I mean, he went to rehab. At some point, don't they sit you down and make you look at yourself realistically and what your strengths, weaknesses, good points, faults, whatever are? How can he legitimately believe? How can he look in the mirror? How can he watch himself on videotape? Does he not see that ridiculously underdeveloped body, the pale flesh, the lack of fucking hair on the top of his head, the fucking lack of quality work, the lack of psychology, the fucking lack of bladesmanship? I'm glad that he didn't decide to become the next sleight of hand artist. Fucking Chris Angel has nothing to worry about. But what is it that he thinks that he does well? Because we can't find it.
Again, he's very popular personality-wise with a lot of the AEW fans and the Observer readers. They voted him Wrestler of the Year at one point.
Because they're all 8 years old, and when they come in the room, I'll be badass, and I'll beat everybody up. How is it? How does it go?
I'll be on the Apex like Stallone in Cliffhanger, and then I'll fall off the Apex.
Well, I'm glad that he has a wonderful opinion about his work and his spot in the community.